Alaikum. You are tuned into Inspire FM 105.1 FM. It's Friday, 12th of January, and the time has now just gone 10 o'clock. Welcome to Mother's Planet, a show where there is always something to talk about in a productive and beneficial way. I'm your host, Neelum, and today I will be talking about making positive changes. So in today's show, I'm going to be looking at, I feel like it's a bit delayed really because we are second week into 2024 now, and it does feel strange saying that, but I'm going to be looking at how we can embrace 2024 and make some positive changes. Firstly, I hope everyone has had a good start to 2024. The weather has definitely taken a turn. We quite spoilt, I think, in November and December because it wasn't so cold. We had some mild days. I don't think I was wrapping up as much as I am now, and we even had a few flurry showers of snow a couple of days ago, where there was some ice on the floor. So it's definitely getting colder. And I anticipate that there's only going to be more, and I do think that there'll be more snow on its way as well. So do stay wrapped up, because I do think we're going to have quite a cold January. Now, I know that Inspire FM and Empowering Education had merged together and ran a winter how to keep well through the winter workshop, and I know that these have run quite successfully. They've run a couple of these workshops now of how we can physically and through our pockets as well, making sure that we're trying to save our money through the winter as well. What's the best way? So I do believe that they were quite successful, but if you would like to know more about these, please do either contact the studio at Inspire FM Inspire or the Empowering Education for further information. I do believe that they will hopefully be running some more workshops. So it feels like a very long time, listeners, since I've actually come on air. We had the school holidays and then I got quite poorly. Yes, poor old me, who doesn't get poorly often, just had a shutdown, and I think my body had just overworked itself and it was its way of telling me to just stop. So I did. I took a few days out, which felt strange because I had no choice. I did have a temperature, so I was just falling in and out of sleep, but I think I needed that. But alhamdulillah, I'm back and I'm fit and I'm well, alhamdulillah. Can't say much about my husband. Naturally, him being a man, it did take much longer for him to recover, but that's man flu, I guess. That's their recovery period. Don't know. It did take him a lot longer. Anyway, the kids are back to school, so the madness in my house has begun. But alhamdulillah, I'm not complaining because it's good to be busy than doing nothing. One thing I did find in that time that I was just going in and out of sleep and just sitting down, it's quite hard to sit still and it's hard not to do something. So I vowed to myself not to complain about the busy and hustle that we do have in the house, because when it's not there, it's quite boring. So alhamdulillah, the kids are keeping me busy, and life has resumed as normal. So listeners, we are live on air, reaching out to our listeners in Luton and surrounding areas through the airwaves at Inspire FM 105.1 FM. We can also hopefully be heard as an audio on the Inspire FM Facebook page, where you must give the show a thumbs up, and also you have the opportunity to leave any comments around today's topic. And you can also connect through TuneIn by the Inspire FM webpage. And don't forget, if you do have the Inspire FM app, you can also hear the show live on your smartphones. So plenty of platforms for listeners to tune in this morning, and actually no excuse to miss the show. So I'm hoping I have plenty of listeners reaching us all this morning. I'm also taking in text messages on the studio number That's text and WhatsApp messages on the studio number 07779 481 822. Now, as I mentioned earlier in today's show, I'm just taking a sip of my brew. I've got my peppermint tea ready here with me this morning. So I'm hoping you've all got your brew ready and keeping yourselves warm. I don't know if you like your herbal teas or your coffees or your normal cups of tea or your chai lattes. Have whatever you have with me this morning, and do share them with me this morning on the studio number. Let me know what you're having this morning on the studio number 07779 481 822. So many of us now are thinking about making changes as we enter 2024. It's the time of year when everyone gets motivated to make positive changes and start afresh and try and do those things that they didn't quite achieve in 2023. So this morning I wanted to share some tips with you to help you consider to make these positive changes. And I just want to remind listeners that everything I share is everything from my own experience and things that other women have shared with me, and goals and targets that they've set themselves. So everyone's journey is individual and change is down to you. So everyone will have a different pace, and everyone will have different achievements. So how these are achieved and how these are done is all down to the individual. This is just me sharing some tips. So do sit back with your cuppa and take in some of these ideas, or you can grab a pen and jot down some notes. So I will be sharing some points and just going into detail with them. So the first one that I wanted to do, which I think I'm quite guilty of, and I think many women across the town probably would agree with me, is reflection on achievements. And these are things that we celebrate that we succeeded in. And everyone always feels that success is marked through validation. So we need to have someone tell us that you have passed or you have achieved something, it being documented. But achievement and success is not marked through those channels. And so I think it's important that we don't forget the small things. And this could be as simple as, you started a routine of doing something and you've stuck through it regularly and you've persisted with it. I know many of us say to ourselves, we're going to reconnect with the Quran. We're going to try and read, the Quran every single day, and we're going to, try and do a juz a day. And some people may have set more realistic targets where they said that I'm just going to consistently read a couple of pages every day, and however long it takes me to finish the Quran, it will take me. And if you were one of those and you read a couple of pages or a page a day, but you were persistent with it, that's an achievement. And I think those should be celebrated and those should be recognized, because we don't often recognize that actually, getting up and making that effort of being consistent with something is an achievement. So, look back at what the things that you've done, reflect and focus on these and see what goals that you had set and what you have achieved. And they don't go amiss, because be it small or little, it's an achievement. Now, setting goals is one of the things that everyone does. I think at the start of the year, everyone has this big post-it note where they are jotting down that these are the things that I'm going to do, and I think I've summarized them into 5 or 6 points about the goals that we need to be realistic with ourselves on. And the first one is eating well. Now, I know we all probably at the beginning of every month say, right, okay, this is going to be the month that I'm going to actually start my diet, or I'm going to eat well, or I'm going to just cut out all the sugar or cut out all the junk. We take harsh steps. And I think eating well is one of the most important factors of our well-being as well. So, you know, I found that naturally as we age, our metabolism also does. So, you know, those pizza slices that could be eaten for breakfast, lunch, and dinner in our youth is no longer the case now. Our body will not digest it as well as it did when we were in our youth. So, age slows down our metabolic rate of food digestion. So we need to be a bit mindful about the things that we are eating and the food choices we are making. So we need to think about having a balance. And you know, it's mentioned throughout the Quran continuously about having a balance in our lives. And so it's very important that we try and do this in all aspects of our life. And one of them is eating. I know with Ramadan, I feel so strange saying this, but Ramadan is not far away at all. We've got probably just over 6 to 8 weeks before Ramzan starts. And, you know, we're all going to be having to train ourselves to, you know, fast. So maybe you can do that now by fasting a single day a week. You know, the Sunnah day being Mondays, fasting every Monday. And that would be a good one for us to do. And I've just got some pings coming through. I'm just going to turn this off. Sorry about that, listeners. Yes, fasting is one of the important ones that we try and do. And lost myself here. Here we go. Yes, we can try and fast to try and encourage ourselves to get into the routine as Ramadan starts. But also, one of the benefits that I found when I started focusing on eating well, and I had the support of a good friend that changed my way of looking at food, was the portion controlling and balancing what was on my plate. And I realized I was definitely a carb eater. I thought I was getting protein, and actually my body was not getting enough, and I did not know the foods that protein existed in. You always associate protein to just meat, eggs. But actually, you know, the full fat Greek yogurt and proper Greek yogurt, not Greek style, Greek yogurt actually has high amounts of protein in that as well. So if you have that with a little bit of fruit, you're balancing the carbs, the sugar, and the protein. So look out for these kind of foods. Excuse me, I'm just having a sip of my tea while it's warm. And it's important to consider what we are putting in our plate, because lentils is another one that has protein in it as well. So you know, and salad, I've encouraged myself to have a salad of some form with every meal that I eat. So I'm having whatever I have set in my plate, and I either will have either fresh cut vegetables, steamed vegetables, roasted vegetables, or salad with this, so that I'm trying to balance my plate. It is time consuming, and I know a lot of people say I can't be bothered to put things together, but if you just cut a big box of salad and just leave it in the fridge and then take it with all your meals or everything that you're eating, it's just about being organized. And if you want to set yourself those realistic targets, there's a little bit of effort required. So I do think when it comes to eating well, it's more about changing the way we see food and eat food, rather than crash dieting and cutting or eliminating food from the diet. I think from my own experience, one of the worst things I did was eliminating food from my diets, because as soon as you start eating those foods again, you will find that you are just putting that weight back on, or your bad eating habits are coming again. And you can now buy plates that actually help you with portion controlling, telling you what you should have in each section of the plate. I didn't ever invest in any of these. What I did is I just made my plate smaller. So I didn't physically make my plate smaller. I just went for a smaller plate. So when I have my dinner now, I use a smaller plate rather than using the normal plate that I used to eat. So I've just downsized my plate, and I can fill it, and I know that it's enough. Um, and I think it's a habit as well. Again, it's just getting yourself into that routine. If you continuously do it for 5 days, you'll be doing it naturally, where you are full and content in the way that you were eating. You won't feel the need to have more. So initially it does start off hard, but once you've kept on with that and been persistent, you will find that that works. One of my important pieces of advice around eating well is don't skip your meals. That's one of the worst things you can do. Make sure you are having something in each of those meals, and again, trying to balance it with a protein and a carb, because then you'll find that you're fuller for longer, and you won't you won't have the need to graze. I found that as a carb eater, mainly a carb eater, I was getting hungry quicker, and I did want to graze. So that was one of the things. Once I upped my protein, I found that I was doing less of. Fitness, I'm sure many of us have incorporated this in our goals, where we are looking to try and get fit. And my advice here would be, from experience again, don't do vigorous exercises, the high impact, high cardio, where you just literally stop breathing as you're exercising. I would advise to not do those. Do it, but maybe not as often. My tip here for everyone is that if you do want to remain consistent with it, is find an exercise routine that you like and stick with it. And remember, it doesn't have to be a heart pumping, blood sweating exercise. It has to just be something where you are physically moving and you're just slightly out of breath. So it can be just as simple as a few stretches every day, just doing 5 or 6 minutes of stretches, to something where it's a bit more intense, and it's a 12 to 15 minute workout. And that's the time. I remember when I first started exercising, I was allocating myself 45 minutes a day, to say that has to be my exercise. So I would chunk out a whole hour and just do exercise. And I found that it exhausted me rather than boosted me. And then when I cut that down to like 20 minutes, I found that I had more energy, and I felt good, and I was able to do all the other things that I needed to get through in the day as well. So, you don't have to be doing hardcore 45 to 1 hour exercise. It's, trying to keeping consistent of moving, and literally moving your whole body. 12 to 15 minutes is actually sufficient, and research has shown that doing this every day, you are more likely to have sustainable weight loss and strength, rather than doing those high impact 45-minute exercise, 45-minute to an hour exercises over three days a week. So doing something for a shorter time every day will actually make you be more consistent with your staying fit, your stamina and weight loss journey as well. So find something you enjoy and stick with it, and don't be rigorous. Just try and do something that you can do for 10 or 15 minutes every day. Continuous learning. This is one of my favorite ones, because I think we all think we reach an age where we are learned and we have acquired all the knowledge that we need to learn, and we don't need to study or do anything else. And we become quite complacent. A few years ago, I was guilty of this, where I just thought, I've gone through my academic education, and as a school teacher, I've delivered what I need to deliver. But for me to be continuously learning, it's not actually needed. But actually, I found that we do, and especially as a mum, I found that there were so many things that I needed to keep my mind refreshed on. So one of the ones that I would suggest to many people is to signing up to any fiqh courses, understanding Islamic studies correctly, and many of the mosques across the town are running fiqh workshops around different aspects, and make it to those that are relevant to you. Studying like the fiqh of fasting, the fiqh of salah, the ones that we are not just attaining knowledge for ourselves, but once we've learned, we can then share this knowledge with our children, with our family members. It's important that we, try and do something that's not just beneficial for us, but you can share this knowledge with others. And I think many of the courses that are run, a lot of the imams do say that when you learn this, spread this knowledge, share this knowledge. And this is why it's important that when you do attend these sessions, you fully understand what you are taking away from it, and it's your platform to ask all the questions. So yes, I think we need to keep our brains ticking, and it's not just about doing, which is not wrong, word searches and all those games just to keep our brains ticking. We actually need to be feeding our brains with information and knowledge. And my advice would be to try and sign up to any of these Islamic study classes where you are learning knowledge that you can share with others. And as a mum, I felt it paramount that I do something like this so that I could educate my children in the correct way, and they not have to go through what I did later in their life to try and understand certain aspects of Islam. So that's important that we are continuously studying. Building relationships. Now, this is a very important one again, because we all live such busy lifestyles, and we often try to meet up with friends, even family, and say, let's try and get a get together or stay connected, but it's very difficult. And I think it's important that we try and stay connected with people. And I think if we've learned anything from the lockdown, how important it is to talk to people and just ask them how they're feeling. You'd be amazed at how many people are actually shutting themselves off from the world and just allowing themselves to suffer in silence with a lot of things. So if we reach out to neighbors, friends, family, and just talk, again, we are living in an age where technology has helped us in a variety of ways and is advancing in continuously. So we have loads of platforms on technology as to how we can communicate with people if we can't physically see them. So, use these devices and stay connected with good relations. Make the time for local family, and just go over and pop in and just drive by and say hello, just to see how they're doing, ask if they need anything, particularly now as the weather's getting bad and some family members may get poorly and are not able to get out and go and get things. Just check in on people and ask if they need anything. I'm very blessed, alhamdulillah. We have good connections with our family, but we also have very good neighbors. So the time that I was unwell, my next door neighbor came with a big bag of oranges and said, up your vitamin C. And so I was eating oranges, but it's very kind of her to check in and see how my husband and I were getting on. And she dropped some oranges off for us and some fruit and said that, just try and nibble on this just to get your vitamin C up to scratch. So it's very kind. And I felt very touched that she did that. So, you don't know when you are checking in on your neighbors, how you're going to make them feel, the impact that you have. So I do suggest that you try and build on those relationships. And even with friends, us women are very guilty of just not making that time to see friends because we are constantly bogged down with housework, with work that we are doing for ourselves, and we just don't take that time out. But it's important that we do. So I'm going to take a pause there because we are now going over to a short commercial break. I hope that so far everyone has enjoyed the some of the tips and suggestions that I am sharing this morning. If you do have any that you would like to share, or any that you've tried, because we are now second week into January, if you've tried anything, or a goal that you've set yourself that I've not mentioned so far, and you would like listeners to hear about that, please do message in onto the studio number, message or WhatsApp, 07779 481 822. I'm happy to take those text messages. But for now, we are heading over to a short commercial break. And so use this opportunity to go refill your hot brew or whatever it is that you're having with me this morning, and join me after a short break. Assalamu alaikum.
This program will continue after the break. Continue listening to Inspire FM. Inspire FM.
Inspire 105.1 FM.
My name's Rehana Faisal. I'm from Luton. I'm the Reverend Bonnie Evans Hills. I live in Kimpton.
I'm Peter Adams. I'm from Luton.
My name's Hayley and I'm from Bedford.
I'm Takal Moraji. I'm part of Luton community here.
I'm Maureen Borthbone from Sunder Park.
My name is Farzad. I am from Luton.
My name is Kathy and I am originally from Texas, and I enjoy listening to Inspire FM 105.1.
Enjoy quality and tasty 100% authentic halal Chinese and Thai food from Gao Express, brought to you by the team behind Top's Pizza in Luton. Choose from all your delicious Chinese and Thai favourites. Then order for delivery or collection from Gao Express in Wellington Street, Luton, Marketplace, Stevenage, and now also on Nightingale Road in Hitchin. Open daily midday till late. Find the number or order online at Gao, that's GAO, express.co.uk, or like Gao Express on Facebook.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم من يحرم الرفق يحرم الخير, that whoever is deprived of gentleness is deprived of good.
Do you have a legal problem? Are you trying to settle a family member? If so, then contact M&K Solicitors. M&K Solicitors are a leading local firm specialising in immigration, family, personal injury, clinical negligence, civil and property law. Our solicitors have over 20 years' experience and are recognised internationally. Our success rate speaks for itself. Take advantage of our free consultations for your first meeting. We also give free advice on Fridays, no appointment needed. That's right, free legal advice. M&K Solicitors. Call 01582 732 503.
Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, during your sleep, Shaitan knots 3 knots at the back of the head of each of you, and he breathes the following words at each knot. The night is long, so keep on sleeping. If that person wakes up and celebrates the praises of Allah, then 1 knot is undone. And when he performs ablution, the 2nd knot is undone. And when he prays, all knots are undone. And he gets up in the morning lively and in good spirits. Otherwise, he gets up lethargic and in low spirits.
Did you know that over 361,000 children die every year due to lack of clean water? Clean water is not a luxury, but a basic human right. UKIM is working to end their suffering by providing clean and safe water. Make a difference. Provide clean and safe water with UKIM. For donations, call now or visit ukim.org.
Assalamu alaikum, this is Mariam.
This is Anissa.
And this is Sonia. And we are Sisters Speak.
Sisters Speak is a weekly discussion program where us girls discuss a variety of topics.
Just to give a few, our topics range from politics and education to social media and identity. So please join the discussion by tuning in to Sisters Speak. Tune in on Wednesdays at 6 p.m. on Inspire 105.1 FM, and also find us on Instagram at Sisters Speak.
From the studios of Inspire FM, the time is now 10:30.
Good morning and assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to Mother's Planet. It's Friday, 12th of January, and the time has now just gone 10:30. Now, earlier in the show, I was talking about some of the changes people are looking to make as we enter 2024. Now, I had gone through a few where we were setting goals, and I talked about eating well, fitness, and the importance of continuous learning, especially us women as adults, because many of us adults just think that that's it, learning stops there. But actually, it should be a continuous cycle, and we should always try and seek knowledge wherever we can. Building relationships was the other one. And the other two that I have is reconnecting with your faith and creating a work-life balance. Reconnecting with your faith, I think, speaks for itself. We all, need to have that moment where we are resetting our purpose and channeling our energy into the right deeds, and making sure that we are preparing for the life after, and not just getting bogged down with the everyday life to life that we are living in this world. So I think the reconnection with our faith is taking that time out, and connecting with Allah and reflecting on the blessings that we've been given and what we are doing to prepare for when we leave this world. So what good deeds we are doing. And on this point here about good deeds, I just wanted to add that I was guilty of this, and I think sometimes I still am, where you do something and you think it's a good deed and you're waiting for something to come from it, or you're hoping to reap a benefit from a deed that you've done. Astaghfirullah, I think we should just do and not stop to think, where's the goodness coming to us? Because we don't know what we are being saved from, and we don't know what good is coming our way, and what bad is being taken away from us. So the important thing is that we just stay heed on doing good and doing well and staying righteous, rather than having that reflection moment of trying to see where our deeds have got us. And I think once you get into that mindset, it becomes second nature to us, where we are just doing things. Creating a work-life balance, as now we are sort of recovering from the pandemic, and the economy is beginning to come back to its normal way of working. Some companies have actually allowed employees to still work from home, and many are now asking their employees to actually come into the office. There's pros and cons to both. I think going into the office is good because, again, you are having that opportunity to build relationships, and you are connecting with other people. You are keeping your learning going, and you're striving to do more when you're actually in an office environment. And you can get a bit disconnected when you are working from home, and distracted. So while both have its pros and cons, the working from home has a huge detrimental effect on people actually being able to switch off from work. When you're in the office, you know that you're going to just leave at a certain time, so you pack up and you go. And when you come home, you're not thinking about work. Whereas when you're working from home, it's quite hard to actually close the laptop and put things away and say, right, that's it, I'm switching off. You're in the comfort of your own home, and you're not as disciplined. So you will just say 5 more minutes, 10 more minutes, and before you know it, you've probably dedicated a couple of more hours into your work there. So I think it's you have to discipline yourself, and it's time for you to maybe think about going into the office, or having that set time, saying, right, okay, I'm going to work around these hours, and then spend the rest of the time where I'm present with the family, and incorporate some normality in your life. Again, it's just finding that balance, and the importance of it. The next one is decluttering. My favorite, because I think I've always talked about this, and I try and nip it in all my shows actually, because I wish I could say that I've mastered it, but unfortunately, I'm still constantly decluttering. I don't actually think we ever stop, because if you're anything like myself, when you see a bargain, you will buy it, and when the winter times come, you think I'll buy a bulk buy, just for storage and ease, because I don't often get to this shop, so I'm just going to bulk buy. So if you're like that, it's very difficult to say that you've decluttered and you won't be decluttering anymore. It's quite hard to stay on top of it. But I do try and stay consistent, where every day I'll pick an area of the house and I'll say, right, I'm just going to focus on this bookshelf, or I'm going to focus on this cupboard. And one of the ones that I have to share with you listeners is the medicine cupboard. I don't know if many of you have medicine cupboards, but I have a dedicated cupboard in my kitchen where I just put all my medicines, my first aid kits and everything there, just so it's all in one place. And I could see it overfilling, so I thought I must give it a clear out. And so I did, and I was actually really shocked to find how many medicines were out of date. And this was in the earlier part of 2023, when most of these medicines had gone out of date. I don't think there's any, especially with pain relief tablets like paracetamol and ibuprofen and things like that. I don't think there's any danger in taking out of date medication, but the expiry date is there because I think the effect of these medications isn't as good. So just work through your cupboards and have a look. And also, you can actually take any unused medicines back to a local pharmacy, and they can then dispose of these appropriately. So if you're a bit wary about putting it in your own bin, you can take bottles or packs or blister packs of tablets back to your local pharmacy and in a bag, and drop it off to them and explain that these are all out of date, and they will dispose of it properly because they have the correct bins, so they can dispose of these medicines correctly. So yes, and again, as well as your medicine cupboard, your tinned cupboards, check for your tinned cans or your packet pastas or packet rices or anything that you have in those cupboards storing away. Just check the dates on them, and some of these are best before, so if it's a month or so out, it's not too bad. But if they're a few years, which I was discovering, it's always when you have them at the far back of the cupboard. So I've tried to now invest in, which is what my next point is. It's all about organizing. I've tried to invest in those little caddies, which are like little trays that you can stack food in, so you can just pull them forward and then you can get to the back and see what else you have at the back, rather than having them statically standing in my cupboard. I've got these little pull out drawers that you can just pull out and put things in. One of the favorite ones that I've done is cereal boxes. I used to have cereal boxes, and I used to fold the flaps at the top and just have them stacked in the cupboard. And while it looked pretty to see all these cereal boxes and the flaps made in that way, it was quite impractical because if the kids got their hands on them, they wouldn't open the flaps the way I did, and the boxes would tear. So it just meant that the cereal was likely to get more stale. So I invested in cereal jars, and I've actually invested in like cylinder shaped ones, so that you can have one in front of the other rather than having them lined up. And I can actually get a lot more cereals and porridge oats and all other bits in there as well, rather than just having boxes stacked up. So I found that getting those cylinder jars, I've made myself have more space. So yes, organizing things like that, where you can actually put them in different shapes to create more space, is good. Also, I'm really well known for writing my to-do list on any piece of paper that I can see lying around, and I jot things down wherever I can. But this year, I've decided to get myself a notebook, and I jot things down on there. And I also have a calendar to mark all key events that are happening in the children's school. So I'm able to know what events are happening where at the schools as well. Another one, as well as getting those the jars and the containers and the pull-out drawers to organize your cupboards a bit better. Label your jars. I never used to, but if I want others, i.e. my kids and my husband, to cook in my kitchen, everything needs to be labeled, so they've got no excuse to get it wrong when I tell them to use certain spices in their cooking. So everything is labeled so that they can find those foods easily, and they don't have an excuse to get it wrong. Plan ahead with cooking, and I used to have a meal planner where I actually sat down on the Sunday of every week and decided what I was going to cook for the week. And it was good because I could see what I had planned for the week. So if I didn't cook Monday's meal, I knew I could cook that on Wednesday. I could swap meals around. So I was doing that, but it just felt like it wasn't working. So I've now just plan ahead with my cooking. So I just write out options, meal options, like put some meals together and just write them out and say, right, these are the meals, and we've got 7 days of the week to pick different meals and have these meals. And it's quite nice to do because I can pick and choose, and I can, if I'm going shopping, I can make sure I've stocked up for whatever meal that it was that I was planning. So I used to do the daily ones, but it just didn't work for me. Having the options of just a variety of different meals works better for me. I do have fixed days for fixed meals, so the children know that it's this day and mum's going to make this. So that doesn't matter, that doesn't change. But yes. And another thing around organizing is delegate jobs around the house. I used to just let myself get bogged down with everything. It would be moving from the kitchen to then cleaning and then wiping down the baths and the toilets and cleaning. In actual fact, we need to try and delegate these jobs, and you'll find that you get more done. And when everyone gets involved, everyone's that little bit more cautious about how messy things get because they've actually tidied it up. So it's quite good getting the kids involved, because once they've seen the effort that's required to tidy something up, they're a bit more cautious about how messy things get. So they're more conscious of it, and they're a bit more thoughtful about it. So yes, I wasn't good at this, but now I'm getting that much wiser now as I get older, and I know that I should be delegating jobs and get the kids and the husband involved. And you'll find that you can actually do things more as a family. And that was the other thing is one of the things that I'm trying to do this year is making that time for family moments. And these don't have to be spent, through money or anything like that. Excuse me. It can be just as simple as playing a game, a card game. Excuse me, I just had to go away and cough and sneeze. It all decided to come in one go. So yes, it can be as simple as playing a card game, or having that family moment after your dinner, after lunch on the weekends. It doesn't have to be an expensive thing where you go out and you are spending money. I think with the way the weather's going, there's a lot of indoor activities that you can do at home with the children. So I am trying to make more time for the family. Also, financial planning, making the most of your money and excuse me, saving in halal trust funds and accounts, making your money work for you, investing in your children's future. If your children want to study further, universities are going to be expensive, the fees. So just investing in your money and setting that money aside for them so that when they do go on and study, you're able to financially pay for their studies. The other one I wanted to share is giving back to the community. And this is volunteering, community initiatives, supporting charities. There is always something going on. And I think as you become older and wiser, you realize that actually it's really important about being able to give back to the community and doing something that is going to be like your sadqa jariyah, something that you're leaving a memory with, something that you worked in, an initiative that you took forward. And there's a lot of community initiatives happening, and supporting these is really important. And this can also be helping the elderly or your neighbours again, just popping around, asking if they needed a bit of shopping done, or if they needed anything, especially during the colder months, reaching out to them and checking in on them. We've talked about building relationships and being around your family and friends. One of the ones that is a skill that I think we'll all be forever working on and improving on is having meaningful connections. So surrounding yourself with those positive friends, friends that when you walk away will make you feel good. And it's very hard to find those kind of friends, because I think we're coming to that age now where people are it's becoming quite difficult for people to be happy for other people, because people are envious. And I think it's hard, especially as women, to really raise each other and be positive. And I think that's probably one of the changes that I feel is very important that we should try and make, where, we should be grateful, which takes me to my next point, which is practicing gratitude, grateful of what we do have and being happy and content what others have, and getting yourself in that mindset as well. There was a talk by Hamza Yusuf where he said, Sheikh Hamza Yusuf, where he said in one of his talks about being grateful for something as simple as eyelashes. And it just got me thinking, because I thought that's something that we take for granted. Not many people have eyelashes. And, to say, Alhamdulillah, we have eyelashes, we are able to, have that protection on our eyes. So, first it attacks our eye, any dust will go to our eyelashes before it enters the eye. So we have that protection. So being grateful for something as small as that. And I think it's just, especially how we went through lockdown, the friends and families that we lost, and the life that we lived during that time, and coming out of it to where we are today. I think we should be grateful and continuously saying Alhamdulillah for these blessings. And I think it's important that we don't hold on to negative energy, and dwell on things that have happened that have had a negative impact on our life, and we try and move forward and let go of these negative energies, because these will consume your mind, and these will be things and thoughts that you will be having throughout your day and mind, and it will just bog you down. So you need to try and discard this negative energy and think about focus on the positive and focus on the good that you do have, and not let yourself get consumed with the negative. Sometimes these situations are out of our control, and if it's something that you feel that you can exercise or voice or share or air a concern around, then do so. Just don't let your mind consume it, because then it will have an overall impact on your physical and mental well-being. The other one I wanted to share is protecting the environment. Now, I think this is a community message I want to share with everyone, that, don't drop it, pick it, bin it. We need to try and take care of the community. I've gone through the town and seen litter everywhere. We've actually invested in a litter picker. And we just, if we see litter in our streets, I'll just get the kids to go out with the litter picker and a bag. My husband's very good with this. He gets very frustrated, so he will encourage the children to go out and just, show that we can keep the streets clean and be good role models. And you're also teaching your children about keeping things tidy, not just in the home but outside it as well. So yeah, I think we need to be a bit more conscious in the way we try and keep our town tidy. It's representing the people that live in there. So, we need to try and make sure we are picking up our rubbish and putting it in the bins. And if you can't find a bin nearby, just keep hold of it and chuck it in a bin when you get out home. Also embracing environmentally conscious practices. And this could be, recycling, reusing, and showing them that you can reuse things, and we you don't have to chuck everything away. Some things can be used. I think I'm a bit of a hoarder when it comes to tins, so anything that I get in a tin, that tin just lives with me. I'll just fill it up with something, I'll reuse it. So it's just showing these good acts and being a good role model to the younger generation, and looking at ways that we can reuse these materials and objects to encourage the younger generation to get into the concept of reusing, because we will just have them throwing everything away. And I think if we show them that we can reuse and make something out of something, and make it a productive thing, not just hoarding onto junk and just having piles of junk saying that I'm going to reuse it, but actually reusing it. There's quite a few hacks around on the internet. If you just search it on the internet, look it up on YouTube, you can find out ways of reusing lots of things. I had a local sister actually who reused a plastic water bottle to make a hanging plant basket. So there's lots out there, and there's lots that you can do with the children to show them how things can be reused and made. So I think that's important that we do that. Now, I did promise that I would be sharing some household tips. I've always watched some of these videos and thought I didn't ever think it would work, but if you have a cooking pan and the base of the pan, so not the inside of the pan, but if you flip it over, the base, the silver plate at the bottom of your cooking pans, they can sometimes collect oil, collect burnt marks and what have you when you're cooking. I watched a video where a lady just used toothpaste and a bit of dish soap, and just with her hands rubbed it around the pan, and then with like quite a firm pad. If you don't have one of those wiry pads, you can use a piece of foil. So again, if you're chucking some foil away, rather than doing that, just roll it up into a little ball so it looks like a sponge. And she just, in circular motions with the dish soap and the toothpaste, rubbed the base of the pan and washed it out. I didn't think it would work, but I gave it a go on a pan, and I will try and get a picture of this uploaded onto either the Facebook part of the show or on the Facebook Inspire FM Facebook page. But the pan, it looks new, and it was literally dish soap and toothpaste rubbed together on the base of the pan with a piece of foil, again something that you're recycling, and just scrub around in circular motions and then rinse it off, and you'll find that the pan had nothing on it before. My frying pans, particularly when frying eggs, they're the ones that are guilty of the bottom getting like that. So I gave it a go on a really fatty, sticky pan, and it worked. So I've given a task for everyone today to go and clean the base of their pans with toothpaste and dish soap and a piece of foil. Do let me know if this works, because I know it works. I'd like to know how everyone else is getting on with that. And the other one is, especially for when you are trying to plan a meal and you realize that what you've got is frozen in the freezer and you don't have enough time to defrost it. Many of us just chuck the meat in hot water, which actually is the worst thing you can do, because you're partially cooking the meat, and you shouldn't cook it like that. So what you can do is just knock the ice out of the meat. So bang it about a little bit, and then in a bowl, just lukewarm water and clear distilled vinegar. A good swig of that in the bowl, and then leave your meat in that and cover it. Now leave the meat in the bag, or take it out of the bag and just leave it in that water. Cover the meat and come back to it after 10 minutes, and you'll be shocked. It will be defrosted, and it will be soft, and it will be ready for you to cook with. So give that a go. Listeners, I have now come to the end of my show. I hope that all my tips and suggestions have been of benefit to you all. Jummah Mubarak, and inshallah, I will see you next week. Assalamu alaikum.